Okay, folks, it's Rob again. Want to have a little discussion about ventilation in the boat itself. The reason I bring this up is about 2 months ago, I was having some stereo issues. If I'd get above number 22 on the volume on my stereo, the amp that powers my upper speakers on the wakeboard tower was cutting out. The other amp was fine, but that was the big amp that I had in here, and it was hot as hell. So took it in, had it checked out, and sure as shit, it burned itself out. But part of me was thinking, maybe it's just getting too hot, because it's underneath the cockpit here, and there's no ventilation. So my initial solution was to install a fan, and I'll show you. I installed that little fan right there, and I got the wire running all the way back there, and because I got a spare battery that sits back there, and it's just a couple gator clips. And that was it. Pretty simple. However, that wasn't it. The amp was just kind of a piece of shit. I used to have two Arc Audio amps in here. One was 800. One was, I think, 400. But then I replaced it. Just so you know, I replaced it with the JL Audio amp, and I'll get into that on another video here. I'll do that again today, but later on. But anyway, so it got me thinking. Ventilation is key pretty much anywhere you want to go, whether it's in your house, car. You let shit sit, especially in a boat where it's humid and wet all the time. You're just asking for mold and stinky shit. Prime example is if you leave your life jackets in your boat, God, they reek like crap. So had a little idea, retired, I got a lot of time on my hands now, so I started thinking to myself, this, I don't know if you can see in that video, but this right here in the the door, it's got ventilation in there. Why? Because that's where we keep most of our crap, whether you've got a toilet in there or whether you put food and shit like that. I mean, that's where we put all of our food in there when we go out in the boat, because we're out there most of the day. But so if they're going to ventilate that thing, why not ventilate all these compartments in here? So it got me thinking. So I bought a bunch of these. I mean, you can actually get these at Lowe's or Home Depot, and they even have some that are stainless steel, and they're in the plumbing section actually. But they're like 12, 15, 20 bucks a piece, and yeah, I'm not like that. So I looked online. I got these on Amazon. I don't remember the exact price. I think they were like $2 each. And they're actually just called a vent louver. That's it. And it's 3 7/8. So the best way, you can cut these holes anywhere you want, and you can do it a various different amount of ways. But I bought a hole saw, 3 7/8. I mean, it's freaking perfect. You can't beat that. This was like $18. And I'm a woodworker, so I'll use this crap on all kinds of other stuff. So I was like, well, you know what? Let's just make some ventilation, because it's not going to hurt anything. So I got this compartment back here, which is ventilated by my amp, because that's all opened up in there. A fancy little grate, but the box is actually set back, so that's already ventilated. But as I go move back here, this whole thing was not ventilated, because most of that goes up into the front, and there's no ventilation up there either. So that's just a big melting pot of shit. So what I did was I cut the holes to ventilate out this compartment here. I cut that hole, and as you can see, it's pretty good. Looks all right. Use stainless steel screws, obviously. So I added another ventilation to the compartment where we have the food at. You know, it never hurts to have extra ventilation. Now I was going to go ahead and cut another one for that compartment up there, because as you know, it's not really connected in here. And I was going to put it up front where you can't see it, because, you know, aesthetically it wouldn't look good if I just had one vent on one side. So I was going to vent that up there underneath that seat. And I'll do that later when I get my wrist back in action. But that's something to think about. Oh yeah, and I put another one back here too, behind the captain's chair, to vent out that one. You know, that whole thing. And then, you know, that one there. You know, that way I make sure my amp and everything under there is ventilated. And I gotta tell you, the few times that we've been out and we got stuff stored underneath of there, we haven't had much issues with mold or stuff stinking. The new amp runs great anyway. It's pretty efficient, but it doesn't get very hot anymore. I don't use that fan. It's just everything's ventilated by itself. So that's something to think about for those of you like in the hotter, humid areas where you put stuff in there and you store it all day long. You know, stuff is going to get moldy, and like I said, this is, you know, this is a $20 solution. You know, $30 maybe, and just a little bit of time. And obviously, when you start doing this, and here I'll get into this real quick. Obviously, you put your own drill bit in there, because this comes without it and just kind of locks in. But obviously, start it very slow, measure it out so everything is, you know, even, stuff like that. But you got to keep your drill straight. You know, some people will say tape it off. You put the blue painter's tape on there, because once you start this, it can crack the clear coat, the gel coat is what they call it. Crack the shit out of it. And I'd recommend you have a vacuum with you, shop vac, something like that, because, you know, fiberglass, those of you that have never done it, fiberglass is a mess. Wear a face mask so you don't breathe that stuff in. But like I said, Milwaukee made this like $16.99 I think it was, or $17. 3 7/8. That matches the exact measurement of the ones that I purchased. You can get smaller ones, bigger ones. But go slow. Let that drill bit start and get in there, and then slowly hit that fiberglass and just go slow. Take your time. It is loud when it starts cutting that fiberglass. But I gotta tell you, I have definitely seen a difference in the way our food, like because when you go out, we're out there all day long. Life jackets, when I leave them in here, they're not as nasty as they have been in the past. So it's kind of cool. Like I said, it's, you know, nothing major. It just gives me something to do with my time. And as far as I'm concerned, it's been quite an improvement, and it was worth the time and the money to ventilate some of these little compartments, these storage areas in the boat. So again, just an idea that I had. I'll throw out there to y'all, something for y'all to think about. You know, you can put as many of these things as you want. It's never going to hurt, you know. So, yeah, if you got any questions or comments, let me know. And again, I'm sorry, I was going to actually drill one for you so you can see it. My physical therapist said nothing. So, I got to take it easy. I've already been off the grid for about 2.5 months. Haven't been to the gym at all, doing nothing. So, Xbox is it, and that's even kind of painful, so I don't do that, you know, so often. Anyway, all right, I've rattled enough. So if y'all have any questions about the drilling, you know, $2, 16 or 17. This one's 3 7/8. 3 7/8 opening, fits just right. Shoot me a line. All right, happy boating, everybody.